but we did promise to take you live to this crime scene. National Police Commissioner General Fannie Masemola and National Head of the Hawks, Lieutenant General Lebeya, are at the scene of a major shooting in Louis Trichard in Limpopo. Police there shot and killed 18 cash-in-transit heist suspects. Let's go to our reporter, Mahlako Komane. Mahlako, what can you tell us?
Yes, good evening indeed, Francis, to you and the viewers at home. Quite correct, we are here in Louis Trichard, where I think this earlier on was, well, it's still a crime scene, but this is where, the events that you spoke about, that cash in transit heist, that confrontation between members of the police as well as the suspects took place. We understand that there have been 18 casualties, and I also understand that one police officer also injured in that, but maybe let's just bring in as you quite correctly said, General Fannie Masemola, who is the National Commissioner for the police. But also, Francis, just before we do that, you'd recall that in Thohoyandou, not too far from here in Makhado, we've also been, getting those reports and seeing videos going viral of cash in transit heists that have been taking place in that particular area. I also understand about a week, less than 2 weeks ago, there was also one in the Sekhukhune area, in just outside of the Tafelkop Mall, not so far from the Tafelkop Mall rather. But let's just bring in the General. General, thank you so much for talking to us. Can you just perhaps give us a brief of what happened here? Was there a tip of, are you, I suppose, happy with what you've seen officers doing here today?
Thanks, Mahlako and your viewers. What happened here today is that there was a group of cash in transit heist criminals that over time they've planned this CIT for today, and they are quite integrated because there's criminals from Mpumalanga, there's criminals from Gauteng, there's criminals from Limpopo. So they planned to do a cash heist, and we have intelligence. We had intelligence, so it was an intelligence-led operation. Our intention was to arrest them before they go out to commit the crime, because this is a safe house, the second house from here. They were housed with the palm trees, so that's where they were doing all the plannings, where the planning was happening. So the police members approached the house with a view to arrest them, and in the process they shot at the police. The shooting lasted for about 90 minutes from the house they were shooting. Even the house opposite on the street has been shot. So in the engagement, 18 of them were shot dead, and one police officer has been injured very seriously. He has been taken for medical treatment. So that's how this operation was. Members of SABS that were involved is the DPCI, various components of the DPCI, and your crime intelligence, your TRT, your special task force. They were part of this operation for quite some days.
And how long have they been tracking these criminals? Because I did hear you saying that the intention was to apprehend them before they could go out and commit those CITs.
The investigation obviously comes a long way, as far as you can say January, but the tracking was for more than 3 days, where they have been tracked. They brought a lot of firearms. Amongst them there's 16 men, 2 women, a lot of firearms, but as the crime scene experts comb the scene, we'll be able to know exactly how many firearms are there. But we have seen that there's firearms outside. I saw one guy lying with a firearm still there. So there were also primed explosive that was ready to be used because they wanted to hit one of the cash depots in the province of Limpopo. So that's how determined they were. The house apparently belongs to a Zimbabwean that married locally, that is staying here. So those are the details.
And would you say, you're winning the war against these CITs? We have been seeing quite a lot of them happening within, this municipality as well as in the Vembe region as well.
Yeah, we still hunting those that have done the CIT and caused the roads to be closed for 10 hours in the Eastern Cape. We are on track. We know who we are looking for. Soon we'll also round them off. But with this breakthrough, I think we have done a dent, and we'll carry on looking for others. Also, there is a second crime scene, which is at Thohoyandou, which I forgot to say. There's a safe house in Thohoyandou, which, while we were busy here, some members attended to the safe house in Thohoyandou, where we arrested 4 suspects, and also 4 vehicles were found at the scene. The plan was, whatever they have done, when they've taken cash, they'll go to the second safe house, and there they will then transport the money through to other provinces. And unfortunately, they were going to use an ambulance to transport the money.
Do you have an idea where this money was being channeled to? I mean, you talk about how they're transporting it, they're moving it out of this province to other provinces.
They will be moving it to Gauteng with an ambulance. And normally, I mean, an ambulance with red lights and sirens always is given free right of way. But that's what they use it for.
And just one last question for clarity. You spoke about 2 females and 14 males. Were they also part of the
males.
16 males and 2 females? So were they also part of this gang or these suspects?
That we will still establish. We don't know. But they were part of the fight, the war that was coming from that house. As I said, this shooting lasted for 90 minutes. So it was a real war. So I'd like to thank the members of the SAPS for the dedication they've done. We are not without casualties, as I said. One member was seriously injured, his leg. He has been taken to theater. Currently they see what they can do. But we are very grateful that we haven't experienced casualties.
Right. Thank you so much, General Masemola. You've heard there, Francis, just getting those details of what transpired here earlier on. 90 minutes of a shootout between these 18 suspects at this particular place. So that's about an hour and a half of gunfire that was just ravishing through this particular suburb. You also understand that this is one of the safe houses. There's a second one in Thohoyandou, as well as I'd mentioned that we had seen, quite a lot of videos making the rounds in that particular area of Thohoyandou, where you would be seeing, cash and transits taking place within that particular area. The general also just telling us about there were 4 suspects that were arrested in Thohoyandou, police officers currently in theater who was involved here in Louis Trichard in that shootout that took place here today. But we understand that 2 females and 16 males were killed here during that confrontation with law enforcement officers.
All right, thank you very much, Mahlako Komane, and 1.5 hours of shooting in that area.